Another great guest today. I'm very happy to have Jimmy McCallister on the podcast.
Over the course of, that 30 or 40 years, I stayed true with companies. I didn't job hop and jump around. I was with basically 4 companies in those 40 years. And
yeah,
in today's world, I think
that's unusual for today's world.
That's saying something. Yeah. Retention is huge.
It is.
I would find later on when I was general manager of a large company, we did outsource work for Lowe's. I had 3,000 employees, and try looking at that dashboard every morning, right? See who shows up for work, and just retaining people was a big part of it. Again, your leadership is so important. It's to creating the right environment, in terms of retention. And you've got to invest in people. You know that better than anyone here, what you've done at GSM. But what really, in this phase of my life, I'm calling it my 2.0, right? This phase of my life, I was just motivated to how can I use my experience to give back and to make a difference in the life of others. And
how have you taken your own experiences, leadership lessons that you've learned?
I'm very passionate about that, whether it's new technology, learning a new skill. It's all about personal growth. If you want to serve others, you've got to grow yourself.
Absolutely.
You have to lead yourself first. But on my website at jmacelevates.com, I have a John Maxwell saying on that first page: everything rises and falls on leadership. I've been just really blessed to have been around a lot of great leaders, both in my athletic career and then in business. And I've seen it both as a supplier, and then I've looked across the desk, large retailers, Home Depot, Walmart, Target, and you could tell pretty quick what true leadership is all about. That word accountability is pretty powerful. And
right.
You first have to be accountable to yourself. I talk a little bit about having these great daily habits, and that acronym for GREAT with me is goals, results, equipping, action, and truth. And I kind of measure those. What gets measured gets done, right? And I think you really have to live that as a leader. I think people sense really quick your sincerity and more importantly, your intentionality. Right. And are you consistently delivering?
Yeah, accountability and consistency, I think, are important. It's a great point.
And I think leadership has evolved. I think, there's that word servant leader. And fortunately, I think they do a couple nice things. They think they're a servant leader, but it comes back to what we said. It's that consistency day in and day out. And you've got to meet people where they are.
Sure.
And you've got to clearly communicate the expectations. And I think today we just rely a lot on not necessarily face-to-face. We rely upon, we were talking earlier about, before we got on, about devices. You can't hide behind it.
What key factors in business, anything that you'd like to share there when you look back?
I think the one thing is I was able to build relationships. I think, to me, that's what, if you want to drive community within your own family, all walks of life, it's all about the relationships. And I think I was a connector. I was able to connect with people.
Right.
And I think when you can, when you're authentic and people trust you, there's a lot to be said about that. And I think that's always strive for that. I think we talked earlier about what's next. I think I had that next play mentality. Like, look, when you're in sales and marketing, you hear that word no a lot too, right?
Oh, yeah.
And I had a boss one time that said, the selling doesn't start until the buyer says no.
Yeah.
Right? Garrison.
That's funny.
Ex-Marine.
Yeah.
He was he was just very passionate about that. And I just think, setbacks happen in life. 10% of life's what's happened, 90% is how you deal with it. So just keeping that momentum and having that sense of urgency, but showing up every day, I think those are all.
Do you think technology in general makes it more difficult to develop those relationships? I just threw you a curveball there.
No, that's a great question. I think it's like anything else. You have to have balance. I think that you can use it to your advantage to work smarter, but I think people still need and want authentic communication, and I just think you can't hide behind the device. things.
Well, I also think we've seen or shown, I think, through COVID what some of that disconnection caused.
Yeah. It's still about authentic, face-to-face relationships, which means you better be prepared, better be bringing the value, right? What's your plus one today?
Yeah.
What am I taking that no one else has? How am I differentiating myself? All those things still are, I think, are very important, and I think will continue to be important. But we have a whole sector of our workforce today. They only know one way, and it's behind the device. So I'm not saying don't embrace it. Don't embrace technology. I just think you have to balance it. And I think there's still, if you're serving customers with a service or a product, you still have to have that personal touch.